So I saw this video someone posted on the story, and basically they had a retired major general react to Pete Hegseth's what do you call it? Comments, not comments. There was a speech that he made about 5 months ago when he called all of the admirals and generals together. Everyone made a big deal about it. Well, all the news people made a big deal about it, right? And so he gave a speech, and so this retired major is gonna make a comment on it. Okay, here we go.
We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country.
Those are the words of a potential war criminal, right there. And that is not the advice and counsel and direction that any Secretary of Defense should be providing our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. It puts them actually in greater danger. The Secretary of Defense is a disgraced major that was kicked out of the DC National Guard. He has no qualifications whatsoever to be the Secretary of Defense other than his extreme loyalty to the president.
I watched the speech, right? It's like a long speech, probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Basically, Pete Hegseth says, "Hey, look, we're gonna fight an enemy that's gonna be barbaric against us, right? And we gotta win. And we had to." Um, so he basically brings about a standard, right? So this is like, it's almost like, okay, hey, we're prepping for war, and we don't, I mean, whether we lose or win, we don't want to lose, because when we lose, we're, like, it's life or death, right? So his thing is like, hey, look, I want all of our soldiers to be in tip top shape, right? And he wants the standard to be the top most qualifying male. So basically, he wants elites, the best of the best, right? And so he goes, to be the best of the best, you can't be weak. You can't be, you know, everything has to be based on merit. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to see fat soldiers. You know what I mean? Straight up. He doesn't want our soldiers to be slow. You know what I mean? We're going to be lethal, right? So, you know what I mean? What if he just says, "Oh, we're just gonna be lethal"? Is that bad too? You know what I mean? They're at war, right? So the retired general, instead of making distinction between what is a war crime, right? He's kind of like generalizing it. Obviously, he's a retired general, maybe because he doesn't fall in line with Trump. This is another TDS example, right? You know what I mean? Instead of looking at this guy's maybe even watching the speech, maybe he just watched this little segment and he took it for what it is, right? Out of context, right? So this is what happens when TDS becomes, um, you know, take stuff out of context, and then they don't really analyze it, or they don't really go into it, right? They want to sow division amongst the people that's watching this, and there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that's watching this, and they're just going to straight up sow division, right? And guess what? The people that put the story up, right, and put this thing together, right, they got what they wanted. They got some retired general major that reacts to Pete Hegseth, and the guy was even at the meeting, right? He wasn't even at the meeting. You know what I mean? Because if he was at the meeting and he becomes, you know, someone that doesn't fall in line with the requirements of what the standards are, which is laid forth by, you know, um, the Secretary of War, right, which is Pete Hegseth, right. And that's part of why he's retired. Not fit to serve anymore, right? So, Pete Hegseth said, "Hey, we don't want to be an embarrassment to the world, right? We want to set an example, peace through strength, right?" So a lot of his verbiage before he said the stuff that he said in that little soundbite that we've got, right? Is peace through strength. You know what I mean? So if you're not strong, he doesn't want you to be in there. You know what I mean? Come on, dude. Like, yeah. So this kind of like some of the stuff that I be getting annoyed with, right? When it comes down to like people putting stuff up, right? It's out of context, right? They want Trump to lose so bad, right? That they're gonna just put anything up. You know what I mean? Whether it be jokes or satire or memes or whatever, right? And most of the time they're just onions. You know what I mean? They're just an opinion piece, right? This is another guy's opinions piece. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. So you know what I mean? Like, don't get gaslighted, guys, by um, unloyal uh, people, right? If you think about what's going on at this age and time, who's the president of the United States? So anyone disloyal to the current president, the sitting president of the United States, right? Whether you agree with them or not, right? Unless the chief commander and uh, you know and leader of our country right now is committing crimes against the people, right? Which apparently, for most people on the other side, right? He shouldn't have been president to begin with, right? But obviously, he won fair and square, right? So unless you guys can put him down with a crime, everyone else is it that's against him pretty much, like can be labeled as someone that's not loyal. You know what I mean? Like, or you know the other word, right? Treason or whatnot. You know what I mean? So I mean, I feel like people got to be careful in what their opinions are, right? And then because yeah, you can critique your leaders, right? Or you can express your unsatisfaction with your leaders or with the government, right? But if you have no proof of corruption or you have no proof of crimes, right, against the people or against you, you know what I mean? Then you're just toting something that's just in your head, right? You know what I mean? Or you're you're brainwashed to the point where like should you even belong? if if you don't feel like you belong, you know what I mean? Do you belong, right? Like, hey, look, for me, if I don't belong in it, in the place, I don't participate. You know what I mean? Or I don't I don't force anybody to accept me, right? I just leave, like, yo, I don't belong here, right? 'Cause it's not my group, it's not my gang, it's not my people. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. It's natural, you know. Go find a place where you fit in, right? So at this point in time, if America's a certain way, people gotta assimilate. If you're left and you're too far left, either come back. You can't be, you know what I mean, like out there and start throwing stuff on the wall, because at the end of the day, you just throwing stuff on the wall. You feel me? It's not gonna stick. It's not gonna stick. Trust me. Anyway, man, just my 2 cents. What I know, anyway, man. You know they gonna do what they gonna do. Have a good day, y'all. Peace.